about 3 hours north of Jerusalem in what is one of the oldest cities in the world, Akko. Now, what makes this city totally unique is that it was built upwards, not outwards. Beneath this marketplace, beneath the whole city, is an underworld constructed about 1,000 years ago. It was the site of total bloodbaths, horrible massacres, the front lines of an earth-shattering holy war. Archaeologists tell us that less than 10% of this underworld has been excavated. But what they have found may hold secrets of the Knights Templar, the Great Crusades, and why this ancient world was poised on the edge of doomsday.
In the 11th century, Christian knights from across Europe took an oath to annihilate the Muslims, whom they considered infidels, and expel them from the holy city of Jerusalem. For both sides, this wasn't just a war of conquest, it was a holy war, a final battle between the folk. For the knights, good meant Christianity, and evil, the Muslim infidels. The Catholic Pope used apocalyptic rhetoric to inspire knights from around Europe to fight and kill the Muslim enemy, the greatest threat to Christianity. But controlling Jerusalem meant conquering its gateway city, Akko. In 1104, the Christian knights finally succeeded in conquering Akko, sweeping across the Holy Land and slaughtering tens of thousands of Muslims, Jews, and non-believers along the way, all in an attempt to secure Jerusalem for the final judgment day, the apocalypse. The city was divided into sections, each controlled by knights from a different order. The Teutonics in the east, the Hospitallers in the north, and the most powerful of all, the Order of the Temple, or Knights Templar, in the south, where they protected and controlled access to the port. I met up with Akko's head archaeologist, Eliezer Stern.
This is the city beneath the city here.
Right. This is the Crusader city from the 12th and 13th century. And we are in the Ottoman city that built in the last 200 years.
Akko flourished under the Crusader Knights for nearly 200 years, but that wouldn't last. Christianity and Islam would soon face off once again, and the Crusader city would be lost forever. Until now.
Oh, wow.
This is the dining room of the Crusader. That means the military order. They used to live here daily, more than 500 people.
900 years ago, this hall would have been filled with Christian crusaders with one goal in mind, to steal Jerusalem from the infidels. Few could have imagined the bloodbath that was about to take place, a battle where Islam triumphed over Christianity, burying the Crusaders and eventually their most prized stronghold, 40 feet beneath the ground. It all happened at the turn of the 14th century when Egyptian warrior slaves, known as Mamluks, stormed through the Holy Land with a vengeance. After a lengthy battle, they slaughtered every last knight inside and destroyed the city to ensure none would return. It worked. The Crusaders were gone from the Holy Land for good. 2 centuries later, the city we see today was built. The Ottoman Turks came into town and built directly on top of the ruins.
That's the street level right there. They found this hall, this Knight's Hall, completely filled with rubble, just buried. And they removed that rubble and they found what you see right here. These arches here, these massive pillars, everything was intact.
It's amazing that this room has lasted this long, and the fact that it's so eerily empty is something the powerful Crusaders could never have imagined. This particular dining hall was used by an order of knights called the Hospitallers. Originally, the order provided medical care for pilgrims traveling to Jerusalem, but as the battle for the Holy Land intensified, the Hospitallers took up arms and joined the fight. But this room is just the beginning. The entire buried fortress spans up to 3 square miles and snakes underneath the entire city up above.
Look, goes off in either direction, both ways.
From sewer tunnels and latrines to hidden subterranean Templar meeting rooms.
Look at this thing. Look at this place. It's unbelievable.
And top secret military tunnels.
If you were in a siege This would be a military operation down here, moving supplies and soldiers throughout.
Everything in this system is still in perfect shape, holding up the modern city above.
We're about 45 feet beneath the modern-day streets, about 12 feet or so below the Crusaders. And this is what's holding all that up.
We had entered into the hospitaller quarter and walked through the meeting halls and living quarters to this, one of the most strategic tunnels in the entire complex.
So what do they use this tunnel for?
It's a secret passway. It's a strategic passway that connects the Templar quarter into the port.
The Templars were renowned as the ultimate protectors of the Christian world, a top-secret military order who killed in the name of Christ. They were called the first warrior monks of the Western world, and I was standing in their now buried nerve center.
Above us, we can see one room of the Templar order. This is underground of the Ottoman city.
Okay.
And this is the remains of the Crusader city, and this is actually underground of the Crusader city.
So we're 3 layers down here.
Right.
All right, I understand. So why did they construct this tunnel? What would they use it for?
The Templar are the first bankers of Europe. They used to take a lot of money from the pilgrims to bring it to the Holy Land, and it wasn't safe for them to move a lot of money in the 13th century.
Right. So they held the money from the pilgrims to keep it safe?
Yes.
But it also had a strategic value, right?
Yes, of course, they are knights. It's a military order.
Yeah.
If they want to move their knights, their horses, their weapons, whatever, they need a private passway.
That meant it all went down right here. In these secret tunnels, the Knights Templar, as well as the other orders of Christian knights, fought fiercely to protect the Holy Land from constant attack on all sides. After all, if they lost Akko to the Muslims, they'd lose the kingdom of God. And that's exactly what happened in the 14th century when the powerful Muslim army of Mamluks rode in. Today, archaeologists have only uncovered 10% of this buried Christian city. And no one knows what clues are yet to be uncovered about the mysterious Knights Templar. In fact, as our cameras were rolling, Eliezer alerted us to a brand new discovery just up the street. For the first time on television, we're going to see a newly discovered hole that leads down into the Crusader level of Akko.
So here's the deal. This building here was bought by a private developer. Anytime that happens in Akko, the archaeological experts have to check out if there's something underneath, which of course there is, because there's something underneath everywhere in this city. So they have to check it out, and we're going down now.
This site was literally just uncovered recently. Eliezer believes this structure was part of the massive Crusader complex. So could this have been used as a secret meeting place for the legendary Knights Templar?
Okay, so we are in the Ottoman level.
Okay.
And there is a very, very small hatch going down into the Crusader level.
Very cool.
And you can see that it's completely full with dirt, debris, and everything.
Can we get down in there?
Be careful. Be careful.
Yeah.
A lot of debris.
This space was lost and sealed up for nearly 900 years. It's a major find, and from here, the ultimate treasure hunt begins.
We are 10 feet above the floor level of this room, and you can see only the edge of the doorway.
Well, let's look at this. I just want to see if I can get a look at it.
The structure beyond this small hole was abandoned nearly 1,000 years ago, and these rocks were all that kept us from getting inside a time capsule dating back to some of the world's bloodiest days.
You see, and there is another room there.
Oh, you can see in the room there. All right, let's get serious about this.
Okay. You're feeling like Indiana Jones?
Yeah, exactly.
The story. We are not going to play a lot more than this because it could be a crash and stone can fall.
I can't slip back there?
No. It's very, very dangerous.
Moving one rock could mean the modern city above would come crashing down on the ancient one below. Eliezer and the authorities wouldn't let us go any farther into this new site until they secure it against collapses. But this brief glimpse into the past, just one of Akko's countless secrets, is still buried in its underworld.
There's 10, 12 feet beneath you here, but there's a whole nother room, a whole nother passage. And the whole city is like this. 1,000-year-old passageway right through this way, if you could get through.
Rooms like these are often the only hope to unlocking the mystery of the Armageddon that happened right here, when Islam put an end to Christian rule in the Holy Land, burying it forever.